Okay, let's start all over. Thank you. Not all the way over. So the registry. Here are all these different apps and stuff that you can go in. So by typing in gist.new opens up a new GitHub or flutter.new. So there's all sorts of stuff in there. So what I was showing earlier that I didn't get a chance to show off is if I go into here and type in doc.new, just like that, it opens up and creates a brand new Google Doc without my having to go to Google Drive. And if I want to do a shortcut link, which is the other thing I was looking at, so I did link.new. Assuming I was logged in, I would go in, paste my link in, it would give me a shorter link instead of the big long one. So there's lots of great tools available through this Google registry. So take a look at the different apps you're looking through. It is so great. I use constantly meet.new because I want to have a quick Google Meet with someone. So I just type in meet.new. That automatically launches Google Meet without having to go into all the different steps and that. And as you can see, I've got a Google Meet running there. So great way of saving some time and shortcuts. Okay, let's quickly talk about Google Docs, all right? Actually, this is going to be a little bit of hands-on, so if you want, you can follow along. There's a link here, bit.ly/Google Doc. I'm going to put in the chat here real quickly. And when you go to that, that's going to open up a folder, and you guys can play along and come along with this. So one of the things I really want to stress, though, is getting rid of PDFs. PDFs were great 30 years ago when I started off, right? I mean, it was the only way to take someone's artwork as a poster or whatever and make sure that all the fonts were included and the images were included and there weren't any broken links. Today, PDFs suck, especially on a mobile device, because it just doesn't read it. On a mobile device, it actually you have to scroll, zoom in all the time and go back and forth. Whereas a Google Doc or even a Microsoft Doc, if it's formatted properly, shows up as a proper web page on a mobile device, and it's a lot easier to use. So we're going to talk about some of the different ways that works. I want you, though, to start by going into this Google demo here. And this is a folder that I've created. It's a shared folder. It's not a shared drive, and we'll talk a bit about that a little later. It's a shared folder, so everyone in the world can go in and take a look at it. What I'd like you all to do is there's one here called blank document. At the top here, you'll see these icons. So if it doesn't show up if everything shows up like icons, you want a list, just click on this item here. I'll close that for a sec. And then you can see all the stuff here. I'm just going to reorganize it. But let's open up blank document, please. So I like to show this off because this is a great example of what people often will do is they'll send an email out saying, hey guys, we're going to go on a retreat. I need your feedback. Can everyone send me your email and put in your feedback? So when I worked at McEwen, I was one of the departments I worked in. We had over 100 staff in there. And so we were going to go on a retreat. And Trevor, can you go and collect all that information? So I would send out an email. I would get 100 emails back. I'd have to collate it, go through, find the duplicates, et cetera, et cetera. Let's say that I sent this out to you guys right now. I'd like you all to go in there, and we're going to be looking at what are some meal suggestions during the day. Can you go in and start putting some stuff in? And you can scroll down. There's lunch, there's dinner. You don't have to stay at the very top. Just take a couple seconds here just to throw in some suggestions. So go ahead and type in some stuff, please. Oops, wrong one. And do that. And there we go. Excellent. Okay, that's good enough. Let's just stop for a second. I'm surprised. Usually I always see someone put Bailey's in here for coffee. Okay, I see someone went, oh yeah, I should have done that. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's talk about what you guys experienced. Well, first thing is you all were working on the same document. There's only one document. The moment you email something out, like an attachment or something like that, you now have that many copies, especially like a Word document. If you send it out as an attachment, then everyone gets in, makes their own copies. You get 50 different versions of whatever that document is that's being sent back to you. Here we have one document. We're all using the same document. This is the official document. The other thing is, of course, both of you can't type in the same space at the same time. It's like parking. Two cars can't occupy the same space, but you can see where each other are. So it makes it a lot easier to work on these things. Notice, though, that no one else put coffee. If I'd sent an email out and said, what do you want to see? I can guarantee about 90% of the emails coming back would have the word coffee in it. And I would be opening these emails up going, okay, they want coffee. Okay, they want coffee. They want coffee. I get it. You want coffee. I get it. Well, because you guys are all working in silos by yourself with email, you don't see what everyone else is doing. But because you are all working on the same document, coffee has already been captured. No one else put it down. So that's also another great thing about having these documents to work on together, is that you're not duplicating stuff. The other thing is, as I mentioned before, sometimes people will, well, someone put down bacon. Chances are you put bacon because you saw eggs. You're now also taking the stuff that's there and you're working off of it. That's true collaboration. Collaboration isn't just working on a document. It's working on a single document together and seeing what each other is putting down and reacting to that. So having suggestions down there, like if I just sent you an email, you would have 5 things, but because you might have seen what everyone else is putting down, you might have 3 other things that hit your head going, oh yeah, I should add that as well. So truly collaborative stuff means working on a document together. Now, it doesn't mean you have to all be together at the same time. You can have up to over 250 people working on a single document at the same time, but that rarely happens, okay? But it can happen. And notice while you guys were typing, I was actually formatting, putting things in point form notes. I went to a Google session and the presenter was up and she was talking about, you know, here's the document, everyone put their stuff in there. And I knew she was going to read off of it. So while everyone was putting suggestions in, I reformatted the document, made it in a larger font so that she could read it from the stage where she was at, rather than having to squint at it in 12 point. So that made it a lot easier for her. So we were working on this document together. I'd never met her before, didn't even know her. So that's one of the things that's really important about these documents, is think about how you can replace that whole give me your opinion as email and put them into a document. And that's a great way to collect it. Also, notice how much typing I did. None, okay? Because you guys did all the work. That's great. So it cuts down my work time. So documents are really kind of a cool piece of technology that a lot of people aren't used to. And as you're working with these leagues and stuff, I guarantee and I know they're all, give me my file. I have to have it on my computer. I can't work any other way. But this is, I mean, it's a new day. It's new technology. This is the kind of things that we need to be exploring, teaching these people and the advantages of all this. Okay, let's open up, let's go to the new tab here. Let's go up Sherlock Holmes, Taste of Google Apps, if you would, please. Okay, so let's say I send this document out to a bunch of people. Let's say I send it out to 100 people, and then 3 people come back to me and they go, hey, you know what? Trevor, there's a typo in here. There's Holmes. Holmes is missing an L. So now what happens is you'll go in, you'll make a change, and then you'll resend out that email, right? So now, whereas 100 people got the email, only 5 noticed the typo, the other 95 haven't even opened the document up, but they get a second email. They know something happened. You screwed up somewhere along the line. Because this is just a fancy web page, I just put in the L in here like that, and on your screen, it automatically updated. Bang, just like that. So this document becomes like a web page. It's the most recent document, and as reference materials and information, this is great, because as every year changes, you go in, just update the information, and that becomes the same page. The links to it are also available. Can you guys go ahead and try and make some changes in there, if you would, please? Just anywhere in the document, go ahead. And what you're going to find is you can't, because I'm the only one that has edit access to it. I could have this available to my team, but anyone external or internal that I haven't given access to sees it as a view-only document, just like a PDF. But as I mentioned before, I can update this. I don't have to send a second PDF when there's a mistake. This also reads easier on a mobile device. You can actually scroll through and have the font and the readable size, as opposed to the PDF, which is the whole thing, and then you have to zoom in and stuff. Let me open up another great example, or a great thing with this. I'm going to open up Jed.
Just a quick question, just
Sure.
looking at the chat here. So of course the PDF question, right? So sometimes we're working with documents that legally we can't have changed. So curious about if I lock a document or deny access, but then I move on as a staff member, obviously someone could come in and change it, or like, is it as reliable as a PDF? Is there really a way to lock it indefinitely, or is there always the ability to edit it?
I mean,
I guess.
only if you give the edit access to that
Okay.
person. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, so like right now I have edit access. My personal account has edit access. Here's Jazz. Jazz is going to look at the same document. Jazz can't do anything with it. Like it says here, nothing. I can view and stuff. I can make a copy of it, but that's about it. I can't make any changes. So in that sense, it is exactly like a PDF. And just like a PDF, I mean, I could give edit access to two people because I'm only going to give edit access to people I trust, right?
Right.
So there's the thing there as well. There is an option, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but I can also give edit access for a specific amount of time. So maybe while we're working on this document for a week, I give Jenny access to it, but at the end of the week, it'll automatically shut her out and take her back to a view-only access. And I'll show you that in a little bit when we get to sharing. So here's what the document would look like. So, and now a lot of people will look at this and go, well, you know, Trevor, I don't like having this up here and that. It's going to confuse all my people and stuff like that. Well, here's a trick. Any document that you have, whether they have edit access or not, do you see where it says edit at the top here? And it'll have some text behind it. If you just type in the word preview in here, oops, if I spell it right, watch what happens. It gets rid of all the Google stuff. It is just now a page. That's it, just like a Google Doc. So you can use this link here. Now changes still apply. So if I'm going to go into here and put into that, and I'm just going to do a quick refresh. There's the change, but still there's nothing else. So it looks like just a plain web page. So that's about as close to a PDF as you can get. And even if you give it to someone with edit access, they have to use the term edit up top here in order to see that.
There's two more questions in the chat just while we're on this topic, Trevor.
Sure.
Colin had asked about how it works in a shared drive. Colin, do you mean specifically if the drive privileges are different than the document privileges? Do you want to clarify that?
It's still all sharing, and we'll talk about that hopefully at the end of the session here.
Okay.
We're going to talk about sharing, but I mean, it all comes down to the end. Whether it's a file, a folder, or a drive, it's a container, right? And you're giving someone access to that container to make edits and stuff. Shared drives are a little different because if you give someone at the shared drive level, whatever you give them at that level, you can't take away down the road. So let's say at a drive level, Jenny and I are working on something. I give her edit access, but I have a folder down below that I want to be the only one to have access to it. I can't take that away from her because she already has access to the drive. You know, it's like saying, here's the keys to the car, but don't go into the dashboard. Into the glove box. Well, you've already given her access to the car. I could do it the other way around. Here's a key to the glove box, and I'll let you walk in. So I can say, you know, you have read access to the whole drive, and then I pick different folders that I can give you edit access to. You can do it that way. We'll talk a bit more about that at the end of the session, though.
Yeah, that's perfect. Sorry, Trevor, there's just one more question in the chat about, sure. Is there a signable Google Doc?
No, there's third-party tools, and I guess depends on what you're trying to do with signable. We talked about this last week, and I was going to, in our last session. One thing I do is I take this whole document. Actually, hang on, let me back up. Depending on what you mean by signable, there in the nonprofit version under file for a document, you will have and I don't have a nonprofit version up right now, but you will have a command here that says approvals. Okay, and that means the person that's approving it has to have a Google account. It's not a signature, it's just like a timestamp. I do the same thing with documents where I will select this whole document and I will go in and add a comment. Let me just do this again, Trevor. I'll add a comment in here. Come on, oops. Insert comment. Where's my thought? Okay, insert. Please approve. I'll put a comment there, and then anyone that gets that's shared with this will get an email saying Trevor left this comment, and then everyone comes in and goes, I approve. Whoops, if I can spell it properly, I approve. So this is a timestamp. This is Trevor logged in with his account. This is Trevor saying that he approved it at 10 o'clock, where previously this person said, please approve. That's a way of doing approval. Like the idea of an actual signature and stuff, I mean, maybe for legal purposes you can do it. But if you're just trying to get someone to sign off on a document, this is what I've done for years. I just highlight the whole document, go in and get everyone to say, I approve, I approve, I approve, I approve. So that way you've got that digital signature. Okay, let's kind of motor along. So let's talk about some of the different things that are happening with our document. I'm going to go into, we're in still number 1. Yeah, you know what? So let's go into 02 for a sec here. Actually, no, let's just stay here for now. So I'm going to go into this 01. So this is that document that we're working on right now. I'm just going to get rid of this comment here for now. All right, so there's my document and stuff. There's a new versions of, like when you create a document, by default, it has footers and headers. It's now it's been designed to be printed off for years. But the reality is we don't print off much, or we shouldn't be printing off that much anymore. So why do we need footers and headers anymore? So under File, if you go to Page Setup, there is this new thing when we talk about the document. Oops, this is an old document, so it might not work with that. Let me go back here. So this is the training document we're looking at now. I can go under File, Page Setup. We now have what's called pageless. So there is no footer, there is no header. It's just one long scroll. And if you're looking at this on a computer, if you're looking at this on a mobile device, that's all you need. It's just like a web page, right? Every web page, no, the web pages don't have, well, they do have a header and footer, but I mean, it can be like 5 pages of scrolling before you see the bottom of the footer. So you might want to decide with your documents, if you're doing a lot of online stuff and you're not doing printing, I would get rid of the header and footer, because this doesn't make any sense anymore. The big thing, though, is styles. And I don't know how many people use styles, but styles is the most amazing thing that people just don't take advantage of. That's that heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 stuff that we see all the time. And when you, by default, start using those heading 1, 2, and 3, they look bulky and ugly, which is understandable. But we can actually change all that. So here's a document I have. Let's assume this is a 300-page document. And I've been using heading 1 here, heading 2 here. I think there might be a heading 3 somewhere, but I'm going to stick with heading 1 and 2 for now. So actually, I'm going to change this retirement to a heading 1 real quick. Heading 1, there we go. So as I go through, and again, we have 300 pages, I can change this as any time if it's a style, and it will automatically update every place that the style is used. So here's my heading 2, inspiration for the character of Holmes. I'm going to go into here. And I worked on a 300-page document where every 5 minutes someone was coming in saying, that font is too big, I need to change the color, I need to do this. And I had to manually go through because I didn't know this trick. This is like 35 years ago. But I'm going to go into here. I'm going to change this to a different color. So let's use this purpley thing here. Let's go a pinky flesh thing here. And I'm going to change the font to caveat normal for the hell of it. Yeah, let's go medium. And let's increase the font size. So I want this now to be used everywhere heading 2 is. So I've gone through and I've selected this one example of a heading 2. I'm going to go up here. It says, yeah, you're working with a heading 2. I'm going to update it. And everywhere a heading 2 is used, on 300 pages, it's been updated. Same thing with the heading 1s, et cetera, et cetera. This functionality has been available in Microsoft Word since Word 3.0. Or when they first came. I mean, like, it's been available for 40 years. People have never known about it, but this can save you so much time. And the beauty of it is when you're doing typing even, so I'm going to do a heading 1. So notice here, where's my text here? So heading 1 is Control Option 1. Might be Command Option 1, Control Option 1 if you're on a Windows machine. But I can just go Control Option 1, type in my heading, go down, put in some text. I'm going to go into here, put in Option 2. Whoops, I didn't. That's supposed to be Control Option 1. There we go. So I can just keep on going and typing. Doing my typing, the flow is what's important here. Later on, I can come back and I can change that font to whatever I want. Put space before, space after, all those kind of controls and stuff. As long as it's already in place, it works really well. The other reason we like to do this is, guess what? Table of contents. All you have to do is go insert table of contents and bang, It basically takes heading 1s, so that's Sherlock Holmes, retirement, and this here. Heading 2s are indented, and it just grabs the text of all these items here. I'm going to actually remove that. I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to insert it with page numbers. So that's the second one here. So there's all the page numbers, page 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to, the first appeared of Holmes. I'm going to put that on a different page. I'm going to put this in as Sherlock with a couple exclamation marks. And all I have to do is go up here. So there it is. He's on page 1. I hit refresh here. It goes and it re-indexes, grabs the name of the title, grabs the page number. So if you've ever worked on long documents and had people coming in every 5 minutes changing it and the formatting and the stuff gets moved from page to page, it'll drive you up the wall if you're manually doing a table of contents. This is the way to do it. And styles is also used in Microsoft Word if you're using that as well. So it's not like it's something new. These links become hot links. So there I click on that. I can go right to that section there. So there's that section there. I click on it. Come on. Here we are. And it jumps to that section. Guess what? All of that available on your mobile device. So it really works out well for that. The other reason for heading 1s and 2s is for people with visual disabilities. So I worked with a guy who was completely legally blind. And so what would happen is he could read through. Now, if you're just using bold, that doesn't tell me this is a new section. That just says text is bold, right? I might bold this title. Doesn't mean anything. But when you do heading 1 and heading 2, it says heading 2. So in his mind, he can picture this is a new section, and the stuff goes in there. So a lot of people don't think about that, but it's very important. People with visual disabilities, as well as I said on mobile devices, as well as having these table of contents in there. When you're doing a guideline, when you're doing a guide, when you're doing steps, when you're doing manuals, and you want them to read it on a mobile device, it's easiest to tap and jump to a section. Styles, table of contents. Oh, so much cool stuff. Oh, what are we looking at here, Trevor? Insert down to the smart ones. So, when you go to insert, building blocks as a new thing that you can throw in there. So I'm going to open up building blocks first. I'm going to open up a new document. So tab, and I'm going to do doc.new. And I'm going to insert a, where to go? Building block. So there's meeting notes, there's product review, there's all sorts of stuff that they automatically put in place. Here's a fun one, email draft. So what happens is, let's say Jenny and I are working on a message for you guys. So I'm going to go in there, I'm going to type all this stuff out, the CC, the BC, the subject line, we put all our text and stuff, we work on this message and stuff. It's now time to email it out. I just have to click on this here and it will send it off an email. Now I don't have email on my retirement account here, my McEwen account that I'm working in, but for you, if you click on that, it will open up in Gmail, and the to field is filled out, the subject is filled out, all the messages is filled out. So you can work on this stuff on a document ahead of time, one click, bang, it's off and running. Another thing that you have available to you are smart chips. So people, file, and calendar, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's actually go to drop downs. So I can throw in a drop down within this thing here. So let's have a to here. Let's say it's a form that I'm creating. I'm going to insert a drop down. So let's do a new drop down. So I'm going to put in people, and I'm going to put in Trevor, Jenny, Sandra. I can now save this as a template. So whenever someone opens this up, creates a new document, guess what? There is a drop-down already available. There are all sorts of drop-downs already created. So if I go to here, I can pick a project status. So we can see not started, blocked, in progress, completed. I can create my own. Best thing is, if I take this, I can copy and paste it into another document and it's still ready to go there. They're not linked, but at least the work's done ahead of time. So those things are fun with that. When we look at the building blocks, right now, because I've already got a building block in here. Let me see if I can remove this and see if it'll recognize that. Insert building blocks. There we go. Let's do product roadmap. Notice here, project, I can put in, I could put a new column, put a name in there. But look, there's the status. I can change the status and we can track it through here. Not as good as an actual project management tool, but you could do it with a document. And this probably would be easier when you're working with your external clients and stuff to work on a document and have these statuses here. And again, you can control whether they just have the ability to edit and change things or not. Excuse me. Let's go just really quickly. I'm going to go into the Sherlock Holmes Taste of Google Apps number 2 here. So one of the things that's was kind of talked briefly a little bit about was locking it down, and that comes down with the sharing, right? So when I go and share a document, I'm not going to go through the sharing right now, but just so you can see, in this document, Jazz, my poodle, he has comment access. She has comment access, right? Kylie, he's a viewer, and my personal account's the owner of this. So only the owner can delete. It's got certain controls that no one else has as the owner. This changes the different when you're in a shared drive, then there are multiple owners. In a shared folder, because it's a personal thing, it's only one owner. But there's the editor and there's commenter. So Jazz can access this document, but Jazz can only make comments or suggest changes. So let me just pop this open real quick. So when you're sharing this out to external people, this is a great way to get feedback on a document with someone. They don't have to have edit access. By default, it's set up here that they can only suggest. And when I share this document, so I'll go back to here, I can also say anyone with the link, so who's not in this list, also has comment access. So this is great if you wanted to send it out to 300 league members. I want your feedback. They can't change the original document. All they can do is make suggestions. Now, there are two functions. There's comments and suggestions. When I go into this document, you'll see this item here, add a comment. I could right click, add a comment, does the same thing, comment or whatever. But all that means is you've got something you want to ask, okay? So for example, let me give you a second here. Yeah, where was it? I usually use this. Okay, the sign of the 4. Well, maybe I know that it should be the sign of the 5 or the 6 or something like that. But I want to make sure, I want to point that out. So I'm just going to leave a comment. Should this be the sign of 6? Now, the beauty of all this is that as people are using their accounts and coming in and logging in and stuff, they can respond back and forth. So I'm the owner or one of the editors. I can reply back, what's your source? Right? Because I mean, I'm not just going to take your word for it. And I would come back in here and I would reply and go, Wikipedia. Notice what's going on. We have a conversation going on. And if you've got multiple people editing this document, everyone's involved in this. So you get that feedback back and forth. The comments stay with the document. It's not emailed, right? Where your email is separate from your document. So it's really great that you can take advantage of it this way. So that's comments. Suggestions are, I think this should be written completely different. It doesn't make sense for me to go into here and say a comment and say something like should be study in white. Well, if that's true, why not just suggest it? So I'm not sure where that sound's coming from. Apologies. So let's say that the Musgrave ritual, what it should be is, and I'm going to type in what I think is a suggestion. It's going to be the muskrat excitement. That's what it should be. Now, as an editor, I look at this. There's the muskrat excitement. I have the choice of either accepting it or rejecting it. And if I accept it, I don't have to retype it, because here, study in Scarlet, I'm going to have to, copy whatever's there and paste it in there. That just takes time. I've worked on a document with 50 people over a course of 3 hours. It was awesome because everyone was using these tools properly, asking questions, putting in what they thought should have been the proper way of spelling it or rewriting something. And I can say yes or no. If I don't agree with it, but I only agree with part of it, I might just go and copy this part of it here and just say no, and then just go back and paste it in there. So there's lots of ways to do that feedback. And again, it's great because you don't have to be logged in with a Google account. I can share this externally and anybody can offer and put in that kind of stuff in there. Where are we at now? I'm just going to quickly go through comments and suggestions. Checklists. Got to talk about checklists.
Trevor, just a quick question on the collaboration piece. Is there a
Sure.
limit of how many people can be collaborating at the same time?
250.
Okay.
Yep. Rock and roll. Let me know if you ever do that. In the very early days of Google, and I'm talking like 15 years ago, um, there was a video out of a document that was shared with a university class, and they were showing all the action going on, like the commenting and everyone had edit access, but they were correcting each other and stuff like that. It was awesome to watch because it was all recorded in live time. It was like 10 minutes of people asking questions and going, no, that's not true here. According to this source, this is this piece and blah, blah, blah. So you can do some really great things with it. But of course, someone goes, well, what happens if I share this document with someone and they screw it all up? They go in and they wreck it. Well, Google keeps versions of it. So I wanted to show you back in here under File to Version History. A version history cannot be deleted. It's not like doing a save as and there's a Word and there's a copy on your drive. It's part of the history of that document. Excuse me. As long as that document exists, it's there. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to go see the version history here. We'll see how this works out. I've been using this document since come on, keep going, keep going. This one since 2015. I have another document I've been using since 2012. So this document's been in use for 8 years. And what happens is I can go to January 22nd, 2016, click on it, and that's what it looked like on that day and time. How cool is that? Also cool, see all these different colors? They're represented by the different colors here. So this was people that used to work at McEwen. Most of them are gone now, but the history's still there. Cool. But look, Lisa made that comment. Caitlin made that comment. Allison made that one. Stephanie made that one. So I can go in and look back in time. So remember before, and I was telling you about how I would go into a document, I would select the whole document, insert a comment and say, please approve. So I've done that. And then I've had someone go, oh, well, you must have changed that. And I'd go, okay, well, the timestamp shows this day and this time. Let's go into the version history. We would go into the version history, find it and go, yeah, that mistake's been there since day one. So I call bullshit, right? You didn't notice it. We all didn't notice it. No biggie. So this is great for that kind of stuff. Also, I mean, I remember the days of you would work on a document, you send it out, and then someone would come back and say, yeah, we don't need that paragraph, so you would get rid of it. Then you get to version 12, and then someone would go, oh, you know that paragraph in version 1 that we had in the first version? That'd be awesome. Well, I've deleted it. We're on version 13 now, and you want version 1. Here I can go back in time and actually do that. So it works really well, the version tracking history, because you might decide, you know what, I'm going to go a different direction from here. Now watch what happens. I can save a version, and so I can save this version. I could give it a name or whatever else, but I'm just going to go back into my version history here. I'm going to go back in time. So there's October 27th. I'm going to go back to, let's do here May 26th. So this is what it looked like in May 26th. I'm going to restore this version. It's not a rollback. A rollback gets rid of all the previous versions. You just go back to that point in time. It's like the stuff before, after it never existed. This is more like a copy and paste, because when I go back and look at my version history, remember that was from June. Well, all the stuff that we've done today, October 27th, October 10th, it's still there because that's part of the history of the document. So give people access. Not a big deal. They cannot destroy what's been written. If you find someone that's been a bit of a jerk and is wrecking stuff, then you give them comment-only access. Then you're done. Too many people get really tied up into this whole, oh, I can't let anyone else touch my files because they'll wreck them, blah, blah, blah. But you're safe. The information's there. Okay, versioning approvals, we talked about that. Couple of great things when you're working with your different areas here. So let's say this document here. So let's say that you need to get this out to a group, but the group don't speak English or their English is very limited. Under tools, guess what? You can translate a document to whatever language you want that they support. So I'm going to go into Latin, and it makes a copy of that file, Now you have a copy that you just share out, everything else the same, but now it's in Latin, or it might be in whatever language you're dealing with. This is awesome because now it's easy for people to get access to it. Even if I have view-only access to a document, let me go back here under Tools. Can I do that? It used to be. No, I guess not. I lied. Forget what I was saying. But I can go in here and people can make their own copies of this document and then translate it for themselves as well. So whether you make a copy of it or give them instructions on, here, save a copy of the file, go under Tools, and then translate it, works great as well. Teachers use this a lot, especially with parents who don't speak English very well. So this is like, here's a note to take home to your parents. Great, I know that your parents are whatever nationality. I will translate a document and send it to them that way. Awesome, awesome. Other thing too is voice to text. Whether you do it on your phone or do it here in the document, it's the same thing. I mean, you're either going to use your, give me a second, you're either going to use your computer's text to speech or something else. Where'd it go? Translate document. No. Oh, wait, hang on. Let's try this. There it is, voice typing. So whether you use like on an iPhone, you can type in text, or here, I'm using my device here. And as I speak now, everything that I say is going to get entered into a document, new paragraph, new paragraph. So the easiest way is to look at some of the instructions, comma, and then you can see what you need to do, period. Notice I'm entering the punctuation all the time, and it's going to be added. New paragraph, all work and no play makes Jack a very dull boy. New paragraph. Look at that. When you go into the tools, click on here. Click, where the heck was it? Oh, here it is, the question mark. Come on, open up. And it'll show you other things. I can insert a table. I can tell it to go up or down. I can do all sorts of different commands on formatting, bold it, however, and stuff. So it just gives you ideas here on how else you can do it. If you ever hurt your hand, and I've done that in the past where I had carpal for a little while, this is what I did. I just stopped typing and just did text. All right, where are we at back here? Okay, looking at time, add photos, launch video phone call. I'll just show this really quickly. If you use Google Meets at all, you can share your screen, but you can also start a meeting right from Google Meets. And what's nice about that is instead of having Google Meets in a different tab or in a different window, when you start the meeting, excuse me, it's actually right here on the side as a menu item. So there's my meeting, there's all the people in it, and then we're all working on the document together. We don't have to share the screen because we all have access to it. So why not just do it this way? All right, go away, hang up. Any questions on anything that we've done so far? Darlene, what's the best, just so I know?
That we can translate documents.
Okay.
Am I unmuted? I don't know what the heck my settings are today.
Yeah, you're good now.
Because I met with someone yesterday and she was talking about, she's doing work with bringing newcomers into community leagues, and some of it she was talking about having to get them to translate, and I didn't know this existed. So yeah.
You know what? If you want to have that person reach out to me, I would love to get involved in helping doing stuff like that. To me, this is something that needs to be done. Another thing too, and I mean, just as a quick aside, Google Translate is an awesome tool on your phone. And I mean, my wife and I travel a fair bit. One of the nice things about it is they can take the document, and they can do it themselves, like the person that doesn't speak English well. They can take the document and hold it up to text in English, and it'll automatically in live time translate the language of whatever you're pointing it at. So my wife and I use it all the time when we travel because menus are often in a different language. I just put my camera up and it translates the menu. So I know whether I'm having duck or eel or whatever kind of thing. But it does all sorts of great things. It also has a translator component where I can speak English. Then Google says, okay, hang on. And then it takes whatever I've said and visually and audibly translates it to the second language. The second person will talk in whatever language they're speaking at, and then Google will stop and then retranslate it back in English. So it's a cool function. A lot of people aren't aware of it, but yeah, have this person reach out to me. I would love to get involved and help out with some of that kind of stuff.
I sure will.
Sure. Okay. And the email you can use is beckt@mcewen.ca. I'll just throw it in here real quick. Okay. Just quick, other quick tips. So you guys are working with templates right now, right? But the templates that you get from out of Google Drive. So when you go into Google Drive, you're going to go create new. You find your Google Docs or whatever. Then from a template, I'll say yes here, and then so here's templates that I created when I was at McEwen. There's templates that are done by Google. So I imagine you guys are doing this kind of thing. However, if you have a template that you want external people to make use of, they don't have access to that drive, because that the ability to go to here and collect and look at a template, that's only for people in your domain. So how do we make templates available for external? Here is how we do it. It's an couple awesome tricks. And so it's right here in this stuff here. Let me just take this. I'll take this document here. Remember I told you before we could do preview at the very end here, so it would be previewed. If I wanted them to have a copy of this, I just put in the word copy. And so when they click on the link, it does this. It says, hey, would you like to make a copy of this document in your Google Drive? So teachers use this all the time. The students come, click on a link, this automatically gets added into the student's drive as a copy of the file. So this is great when you're working with externals. Another one that's similar to it is template/preview. And what that does instead, hang on, where's the document I was just working on? Well, we'll just use this one anyways. Template/preview does this kind of the same thing, combines the two together. It says, hey, I'm going to give you a preview of what this looks like. If you want it, you can use this template to make a copy. So it kind of combines that preview version and the copy version into one. So I get to see it first, then I hit use template, and I'll make a copy in my drive. So these are really handy as you're working with your externals and stuff to make sure that whatever templates that you're creating, they're making an exact copy of it. Because if for them to go and go, okay, open this document up, I have read-only access, now I have to go to file, I have to make a copy and download it to my drive or blah, blah, blah. Gets to be kind of a hassle. Whereas this way, it's a link, they click on, bang, it's done. Okay, what would happen if the external person doesn't have a Google account? Well, they can't do that. Like you have to be able to have an account to put a copy of this somewhere. Now, having said that, if here's a copy here, or sorry, here's this document, it's read only, they can go ahead and download it as a Word document or a PDF. And there is a way of creating a link. I can't remember offhand, it's been a while, but there's a way of creating a link that will do that for them. So it's when you click on the link, it will download it as a Word document. It will download it as a PDF, and you just specify what format you want. So
sorry,
if you're
more, what I meant was if you sent out or if you used the copy link, would they just get that screen? Do you want to make a copy and not be able to do anything, or would they get a log into your Google account screen or
log in Google account screen?
Okay.
Yeah. So here, let's just do this real quick so you can see it. Incognito window. So so incognito window means I'm not logged in with a Google account.
Mm-hmm.
So there, it's going to ask me to log in.
Okay.
Yeah, because you do need a Google account because it's a Google document. It's not like a Word document that can live on a file somewhere. These are all strictly server based, right? That helps? Okay. So yeah, I use these tools all the time. The preview, the copy. Like I've got when I create documents, if they're to be treated like a PDF, I typically will put preview on the end of it because this Jazz doesn't need to see files edit and stuff, especially if they don't have an account, like if they're Microsoft users. So hey, go ahead, just read it. Everything else is the same. It's still a web page. Okay. Google Keep is a great research tool. Basically, what it does is, let's say you're doing some research and you grab a page and you want to make a copy of a paragraph or something like that. So Google Keep, we're going to start off by let me just close some windows here. Just right click, close other tabs to the right. Bam. So Google Keep is kind of like a notepad where you grab a little note and you throw stuff in. So at very base, I can go in here and I can put a note in here. So, ways to find, I don't know, find deals. And what I can do is I can jot a couple of different notes down here. Maybe I copy and paste some text from somewhere and paste it in there. It's just a note, and I can assign a tag on it. Like this is for the project I'm working on called my retirement project. So I would put that as a tag. So I could have all these different little stickies per se and collect that. Where Google Keep really shines is when you're doing research. So let me find, let's do, see if I can find, yeah, here we go, Macworld, that'll work. So there's this information here, how to search this stuff here. There's a great great piece of information right here. So this stage manager, oh, go away. This stage piece, I want this piece of information as I'm doing research. I could copy and paste it into a notepad or something like that, but I want to just grab this piece here, and there is an extension you need to install, but I'm going to save selection to Google Keep. So there's the Ventura, and then I'm going to talk about clicking on a thumbnail, and I'm going to include this graphic too, just for the heck of it. So we're going to put that in Google Keep as well. Save selection. Now watch what happens. Let me refresh my screen here real quick. So where'd it go? Did I do it right? Come on. Imagine, if you will, this stuff showed up in here like it's supposed to. So that's what it does, is as you grab a piece of text, it should show up in here. I'm not sure why. This is weird. It was working this morning, literally. That won't work in there. It's going to be a web page. I'm going to try this one more time. Did I do something wrong? Save selection to keep. I restarted my computer and everything. This is weird. Anyways, you can see where I've gone in and I've grabbed stuff from pages before. So let's say I'm working on a document now. I'm going to open up my Sherlock Holmes here. And I've got all these clips that I've put together, right? So remember, on the right-hand side, you can open this panel up here. There's a bunch of different apps. There's Google Keep. Well, all the stuff that I've done, so there's sample here. I'm going to click on this. Whoops. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to bring it over. So there's that paragraph that I clipped from before, ways to find deals. I'm going to clip that paragraph over here. So all I'm doing is taking what I've collected in 4 or 5 different little bites and bringing them over to here. So it really makes that research part that you're doing awesome, because now I can pull that data over in here. What's really cool is it also recognizes text and images. So here's this piece here. I'm going to open this up. First, I'm going to grab the graphic. I'll bring the graphic over. Do you see the text there from that grilled thing in there? Well, you know what? I want that text. I don't want this. So I'm going to go and open this up. Come on, there it is. Open and keep. There's the document under 3 dots. Guess what? I am going to grab image text. There it is, tzatziki burgers, all the recipes for the tzatziki burger. That's now saved to that Google piece here. There's that text there. So now instead of having this graphic in here, I can just grab this text and put it in there. Where'd it go? Grab the wrong file. Put it in there. There you go. And I have all that information there. This is an awesome tool. And the nice thing about it with Google Keep, you can share stuff with others, so you can work on different notes together, but it just makes it a lot easier when you're doing that research stage and for those of us that remember the days of we would print off a book or whatever and you'd highlight in yellow, and then later on you'd go and cut those pieces out and stuff like that. That's exactly the same thing. You're just grabbing little bits and moving it over. Okay, that's Google Keep. Google Drive. Oh man. Okay, I'm going to try and give you the quick and dirty for file sharing, just so we can get this done. Last session we talked about doing advanced searches in Google Drive. So I'm going to pull this over here. So you can search using here. You can search by a specific type of element, whether it's a photo, extension, a video, whatever. You can have keywords in the name of the item, all sorts of advanced functionality. And if you do searching Google a lot, which I do, there's some great tricks with Chrome from last session you should definitely take a look at. Let's look at these files here. The biggest thing I like to show people is this I here. I is for information. So when I go into a document, I'm going to bring that up here, and it's going to show me the activity as well as details. Let's start with details. So who has access to this file? Great. Here are all the people that have access. Shows me what they have edit access or view access, and the document is open to the world. Anyone with the link can view it. So it's really great when you're going through to find out who has access to a file. I can review that real quickly. Things in there like where is it actually located? Who's the owner of the file? I can also put in a description and stuff. I never do that. But if you do put something in here under this description, it becomes searchable through Google search. So if I put in the word puppy, anytime I search for puppy, because it's in the description, even though it's not in the document, it'll show up there as well. Activity means who accessed this file. Okay, it just says Trevor accessed and edited this file at some point in time. You know what? I am going to do this file here. So needs assessment. So let me just find that file real quickly. Needs assessment. Google Needs Assessment. So let's take a look. I edited it on Wednesday. I edited because I've been working on it. But hang on. So Sandra also edited an item on August 16th. Doesn't tell me what she edited. That's where the version history comes in. But just that she does. This is great for spreadsheets. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone go, someone changed this in the spreadsheet and I didn't do it. And you can go, well, you accessed it on August 16th. So don't tell me you didn't touch it, because you did. And in spreadsheets, you can actually go in and track by cell the history of that cell. So if someone's gone and changed something in the cell, you can do it. Same thing is here. I can tell that, Jenny and I worked on something on August 16th. I would have to go in the document to find it. But this activity stuff is great for that kind of quick overview. And I love people that say, oh, I never touched that document. Yeah, edited it on October 11th. Don't give me that. So the get information stuff is really, really handy. Starring stuff is also kind of nice, because when you star something, let's say you're working on a project, well, then just quickly go there. There it is, right? All your projects are in line that you can work on. Keep in mind, you can also bookmark that stuff, right? So let me just see here. I'm just going to go here and go back up a level real quick. So here I can take this page here. It's a link. So I just put the link here. So anytime I want to get to that page, I just click on it, and there we are. We're at that section. But you can also use the starring function to kind of track that information as well. You can move files, and moving files is pretty straightforward. One of the cool tricks about it is that you can actually do it from within a document. So notice I've got these files here. I'm going to open up this working document. I can either click and drag and move it in there, but I'm going to open this up because I'm working on it. Open it up. And then, come on, up at the top here, or you can use the file command move, but from within the document, if I click on this, there's where I'm at, right? That's where that level was. In a folder called top level, there's these other folders. There's the document I'm working on. I'm now just going to click onto here, open it up, and it's now going to move there. And when I go to that level, so there's that folder, it's now in folder B. So you don't have to just click and drag, especially if you've got long lists and they're in different locations. And that's where that star thing comes in handy, because when I go in here, let's go to move. Let's go do it from here just so you can see again. But if I go to move, I can go all the way to the top here, and there's starred. And then I can go into that folder. That might be 15 items deep somewhere else, and I can just go directly to there. So it's kind of like an alias. Works great for that. Okay, sharing. Oh, God, I got 2 minutes. Shared with me is not a location. Shared with me is like getting a message to say, or an email saying, hey, someone has shared a file with you. So you can see here, Lillian has shared some files with me. It's a notification. It's not a place to go looking. So if you want to be working with this file, when you click on it, let's close this for a second. When I click on it, or I right click on it, I can add a shortcut to my drive. That means it's going to show up in my drive. or if I decide to go into a folder or whatever. Because this file is owned by this person, they are always the owner, they are in control of where it lives. I'm only going to have access to it. So you get what they call a shortcut, which is like an alias. And you can put that shortcut anywhere you want. So it can go into a shared drive or whatever else. But still, Lillian is responsible for the access to that file and stuff. With shared drives, we've talked about how you can grab a folder, and this is the way things used to be, and I really recommend you don't do this anymore, but you would go into here, and I would share this drive, and I would share it to whoever the different users are. You are still the owner, and this is one of the things we've talked about with working with the leagues, is that someone smart with Google like me would go in and create a personal folder, and then we would work on these files. As you add files into there, every individual still owns their own stuff. It just happens to be my folder. But when I leave or someone leaves, they take all their files with them, which is not what you want with a league. That's where shared drives come in, and is really, really handy. I did a session on all of this, back in June. Perhaps, Jenny, you can share. That was the first one that I did with the externals.
You bet.
And it talks all more in detail how you can do that. But what you can do is create a shared drive and go in there, and within the shared drive, you give who are the people at the top level that need access to everything in the folder, in the drive, because you have access to everything. You can't take it away. So I might say, okay, these two members, whoever they are, the webmaster and myself, they have access to everything in here. But maybe I only make the webmaster have comment access or view only access. I can do that so they can see everything, but deeper inside here, I can create a folder and give them more access. So for just this folder, you have edit access. Everything else, you have view access. So at the base level, you can see everything. As you get deeper, you can give them more, but you can never take away. So if I give them edit access to everything, you can't say you have edit access to the whole team, but this folder. You have to do it the other way around. I'm sorry, we've kind of run out of time. I can keep going, but I assume probably most of you want to leave. But what I would suggest is take a look at that video that that's going to go out there, and that Jenny's going to send, because we do talk about that more in depth. I also have a video here that your people can use for how to transfer ownership of Google Drive files. Again, going from the personal to a shared drive so that it's all in place. Jenny and I also talked about how a lot of these leagues do not have access to Google for nonprofits, and they can't apply for it. They get it for free if they qualify, and then they will have all the same kind of stuff that you have, where you have these shared drives and stuff, and so that as people come and go, the files don't leave with them. You just assign a new person to the position, and it works from there. And again, we talked about that in the second session, I think.